I think that there's a gremlin in the plant.
We're gonna have to show our mascot for this for the lone wolves.
Oh, wait,
I bought wolf just to like I felt like it was a good addition.
Okay. He's reached his union scale time on camera.
Yeah, I can't
There we
afford
go.
you anymore. Bye.
So I'm Drew Thurlow.
Lauren Blitzer-Wright. This is the Lone Wolves Community Podcast.
And what are we going to talk about today?
I think I want to talk about Napster, but not in the way that we think of Napster, sitting in our college dorm rooms illegally downloading music.
Are you admitting that here now?
I think the statute's over. I feel like we're okay.
Okay.
I did it.
Yeah, me too.
Wire and Napster, I did it. There's a version actually of a Whitney Houston song. I want to dance with somebody that only people who downloaded it illegally knew because it skips in one place.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it was literally like, do you know, our producer Nicole knows what I'm talking about. And it's like a cultural.
I've never heard that. That's really funny.
Yeah, I downloaded it I was a freshman at NYU in 1999, and I feel like I downloaded it between 99 and 2000.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I kind of, we will Google it out. We're going to talk about this after. Anyway, but now Napster, which is a legit streaming service, was just acquired by Infinite Reality.
Mm-hmm.
And they are going to be now potentially moving into the Metaverse space. And you and I have feelings about that.
Yeah, we do. So tell us a little bit about Innovation Labs. So I'm not super familiar. And what's their ambition with Napster, which has changed hands quite a few times?
Spy. Did you know that Best Buy owned Napster at one point?
I read that.
And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I read that recently in the report about the Innovation Labs deal, but I didn't know that. So what has the company been and what will it be with Innovation Labs?
So that Napster, the company, has just been a streaming platform. So much like, Spotify, it just wasn't as, as out there and as popular, because I think working for a major label too, there was always this like feeling about, that breakup when it was like the piracy stuff really just stuck, and they should have rebranded at some point and not really called it Napster, because you can't kind of go from like stealing recorded music to like, we're going to legitimately do deals with you and everything's going to feel fine.
Yeah.
So that name was still kind of triggering. So I feel like that
we're going to market it to consumers. So we spent 10 years demonizing you, but no.
Right, exactly.
Now.
And all those legal fees. So I don't know much about the company that acquired them. I've just been reading about like what the ambition is going forward in terms of like Metaverse, having actual like music experiences within the Metaverse, selling physical and digital goods within the Metaverse. And my feeling about that is that nobody wants it.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, but my experience with the Sandbox and Decentraland and them trying to sell land and figure out how to create this world within the Metaverse didn't work. There's currency that, like, Sandbox had sand currency, but you had to have a Coinbase account and a wallet, whatever MetaMask wallet. The barrier of entry was so high that people were like, screw it, I'm not giving you my license to verify my wallet. So there's a lot there. I don't know if they're going to go that far, but to me, it feels like if you're going to get into the Metaverse space, you're probably going to be on the blockchain as well. And that's probably how you're going to distribute music or stream music.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
hope I'm wrong about all of that. This is based on me reading articles of the past 7 days and what I'm taking.
But I think that's what they really want to do with Napster. And I don't know if there's a consumer base there that they want, or if there's a licensing with probably the license deals. When you acquire a company, you also get all of their IPs and their license. So they automatically just acquire real durable licenses with rights holders. Maybe it's that. But I think the Metaverse AR, VR conversation has been really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's early. And I just think that there is a whole world out there of potential that we haven't scratched the surface yet. And this is a little bit informed by the research I've done for my book, which is about the modern music economy and AI. Mm-hmm. And there are so many historical parallels that I see to AR and VR. Mm-hmm. So the camera, right? We'll start with that. I mean, we know, the camera became proliferated more in the 1870s or so, 60s. But there was 40 years before that of development and iteration. And a good music example is the recorded devices. The first commercially available recorded device appeared in the 1880s or so,
Mhm.
and then there's so many that you wouldn't know, the magnetophone, and then the gramophone, and the phonograph, and you had maybe 40 or 50 years of iteration of that technology before it reached the consumer class to the point where it really became part of culture. And I just think it's too early to write off the metaverse, because it's the goggles are annoying, and no one's going to wear a Apple Vision Pro on their face for most of the time. But some of the new iterations you see are like they're like your serial killer glasses.
Thank you. Sponsored by Warby Parker. Just kidding. We're not sponsored by Warby Parker. But think about the metaverse. So while VR, AR, you need to have wearables, the metaverse you could do on your phone. Like the Sandbox had an app. It's almost like Roblox for adults.
All
Like
right.
you have an avatar, you're walking around, you have these experiences, you could purchase things within that world too. You could dress your avatar whatever way you want. Like I see how my kids gravitate towards Roblox, and a lot of it is about game mechanics and about like that serotonin boost you get when you win something. And they're really good at that. I don't know if that's going to translate to adults. I don't know if that's a place that people want to be and want to consume music in. Turntable FM is doing it. That is a metaverse type situation where you're standing in a room and somebody is DJing, or you can participate in giving song suggestions and all of that. So that's definitely getting into that. I'm not sure about their commerce options within Turntable FM, like if you could buy digital goods or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I've only been in it once or twice, but the longevity of it, like what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
Is it sticky enough for people to be coming back or stay for a while? The chat
Okay.
part, like that's the AR VR. Totally, I think it's a separate category of innovation. And I
Okay.
think that there's way more cases for AR and VR to be used as tools as well, like to create music, to experience music. But like the metaverse is just like it's like the universe in the computer.
So let's make a distinction then between like what is a metaverse and what is an AR experience and what's a VR experience, or if there's bleed here. So
Yeah.
something like Meta's Horizon, right? So I bought one of those Oculuses. It sits on my shelf collecting dust.
Yeah.
I believe in the future that it'll probably have an application. So that is a metaverse, right? Because that's a unique environment I'm entering. And
No, that's a pre-created environment you're entering that's stitched together for VR.
Okay.
So it could be a concert that's already happened, a music video, a shark. They had like that demo of like a Shark Tank, like you're going in and you can see everything around you. Those are just pre-created from a company pieces of content.
Okay.
I'm sure at some point within the metaverse, you could have a VR experience where you feel like you're not just staring at a screen, but you're putting on goggles and having that experience. But I think it's more about how the content is stitched together so that if you could look at it through VR glasses. So consider them like very different. To me at least, the VR AR stuff is more companies creating the content or artists creating the content or creators creating the content. The metaverse is like this like metaverse that anybody can kind of come in and grab land or create, and it's not really owned by anyone.
Okay, so the distinction is in the decentralization.
Yes.
Because it's true that Meta's Horizon is not decentralized. It's true that developers have been contracted to build things for it.
Right.
And if you don't, then it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Whereas, so what about like something like Roblox?
Roblox is a metaverse, and it is kind of decentralized because there are game developers that come in and they create worlds in there, and they charge. There's one currency though, which is probably why it's not decentralized. They're Robux. Okay. And you come in and you basically make a percentage of that. Some of it goes back to Roblox, some of it goes to their innovation fund. Like there's a big, a pyramid, a pie chart of where the money goes. But I would say it is a metaverse, but it's not really decentralized because Roblox doesn't have their own game. They are the platform.
Yeah.
But everybody else comes in, and the only thing that's consistent is the currency. Right.
And it's a startup, Splash, which is being run by Tracy Chan, longtime Spotify executive, SoundCloud executive. And he kind of pivoted Splash, which had been a generative music company, is now building experiences for Roblox. And they are, it's actually not unlike Turntable FM,
Right.
which is, its own platform, but via Splash, you can use those experiences on Roblox.
Right. Right.
And you can DJ and you can create music, and it's really kind of a interesting application of creator tools and music licensing on Roblox. Roblox has obviously got hundreds of millions of users. There's a waiting audience there.
Yes.
So if you are going to spend money on Roblox, you need to be. Do you need to have a Coinbase account or a MetaMask account? And is it a crypto native space?
So for Roblox, you could buy Robux through your Apple account. So
okay.
It's an App Store purchase.
Oh, that's pretty easy. You just the one way
I have permissions on for my kids' iPads because I'm like, you are not buying this. I have to go and approve each purchase. And they do a conversion. There's a conversion rate in and out. So when you buy it, you convert it dollars to Roblox. And then when developers want to take out their Roblox bucks into dollars, they charge them a conversion rate too.
Oh yeah.
So it's pretty
business. Having a marketplace like that is a really good business.
Yeah.
So it seems like during COVID there was a little bit of a boost. Obviously, everyone's staying at home and streaming and looking for performances that aren't in real life and virtual. But it seems like a lot of the successful music instances in these are been like really heavy lifts. It's like a concert that requires a lot of production and coding work.
I worked on, we had basically, I worked on 4 or 5 of these within Roblox, and they weren't, they were successful in that they were, it's hard to say why they were successful because Roblox is about game mechanics. It's about creating different ways, creating enough in a world that people want to stay and continue to do it. Whether you're giving things away for free or you're asking them to do tasks to get things for free, or there's constantly developers are coming in to make these worlds more exciting. And my kids do these tower defense games are really sticky, and kids like are obsessed with them. Toilet tower defense. There was another one. But when you do an event like music, you're asking people to come in, look at this performance, and then why would they ever come back again?
And then
So you're going to spend $225,000 building this out with developers, and you're going to have to clear the music yourself because there's no PRO, there's nothing attached. There's no way to put music in Roblox without clearing your own music.
Yeah, it was interesting that DistroKid did a deal with Roblox where DistroKid's music could then be in Roblox, and they were touting this as an advantage for DistroKid users.
It's free.
But you couldn't be a member of a PRO to take advantage of this product that DistroKid. And I don't care who you are, whenever you release your first song, the first thing you should do is sign up for a PRO. So I'm not sure who was going to be able to take advantage of this, but it is interesting that even though Roblox is so big and so massive, there is no statutory or any licensing structure created at all.
Any music that's on there, the DistroKid deal was I thought it was really interesting to go out to press so hard for a deal that basically said, we're telling these smaller artists that we're going to put their tracks on for free. They're not going to get paid per stream. They're not going to get paid anything. And we're going to basically tell them it's because you're getting a global 100 million user audience, by the way, who are like 10 to 12 years old. So like it really actually, to me, when you're a platform that wants to support creators and have gaming engineers come in and build, you're not going to support creators, which are musicians too.
Yeah.
Music is the same. If I hear that track again, that's just like instrumental that is in most of the games because they don't have a lot to choose from. They don't realize that all the studies, like, people want to listen to music while they're gaming.
Yeah.
It's like one of the most popular times to listen to music. Spotify, PlayStation Music had a deal with Spotify. There was like a very good integration where you could create your own playlist while you're playing Call of Duty or whatever. But like, I never understood their resistance to doing any sort of deals. And people have tried hard.
Yeah. As an aside in the gaming space, when I was at Sony, I started a gaming sector at my label, and we did unbelievable business with it. Not only music supervising some games, but also acquiring the rights to a gaming soundtrack. Like it was a TV score. There was this DSP called Steam or Steam. I never heard of it. It was a download store for gaming music, and it was gangbusters because gaming aficionados are collectible people by nature. So you would do a gaming soundtrack and you would do a score for it, or you would do vinyl or some kind of merch piece, or even a digital download, and they wanted it. and it was just it felt like a separate part of the music industry that no one had figured out yet.
Well, there's also this gaming music. There are like full playlists of rap, or like some hip hop artists that are doing a rapping about games. So they're like, my kids, they like listening to, it's like, what is it? It's rap battles. So it's like Mario versus Luigi, and they like do a whole rap, and that's all they listened to for a while. And it was actually like some of it wasn't bad.
Is it
But
AI?
no, it's just it. No, I don't think it is, because this was several years ago that
Okay.
they started listening. Now they listen to like actual, like, I don't want to say real music, but music that's more mainstream. But they listen to these video game rap battles for a long time, and I'm like, there's a market here,
Yeah.
because they're all watching like when Super Mario Brothers came out, the movie, and Sonic, and especially around the Pokemon franchises too. Like there was a lot there. There it still is a lot there. But I don't know how you crack that.
So if it's $225,000 to develop a experience in Roblox,
Yeah.
and only the top handful of artists can draw users into the platform for that experience, how do you scale something like that? Like it's something the music industry has figured out in the past. Massive captured audience, artists with equity. How do you scale that?
Well, for Roblox, for example, there's no scaling, there's no upside right now, in my opinion, for the music industry. If you can't figure out a way to monetize music in there, there's really no upside. You're not going to sell a ton of virtual merch from those artists. Little Nas X did pretty well, because that is exactly the type of artist that would do well in that atmosphere. And there's certain items that sell better too, but it's so expensive to put it together that the rate that people will spend on these things, it's not gonna, the return is not gonna be worth it.
Yeah.
It's not.
And then with like vibe coding, all the rage these days, like presumably that production cost can come down. So maybe that will open up the window to artists that can take advantage of it. Maybe.
Maybe, but it's all gonna be in virtual merch. That's the only way you're gonna make money,
Yeah.
because you're not gonna do it on streaming. So unless they figure out a way to even have people buy tracks that they can then play while they're playing a game, so that's what they hear, that would be great. But until they figure that out, I think it's really hard. And also the percentages, like it was like 10.5%
Yeah.
that the creators were getting to sell something in the Roblox store. And I think it was like 15 for them to sell it within their world. So it's not a ton.
Yeah. And was there ever an experience where it was like a ticketed event to see the concert?
No, I'm not sure if you can do that. Maybe you can, but we didn't do that.
Yeah. And that wouldn't have been something that the label probably would have taken a share of anyway, because that's more like, a live event, virtual live event.
It's not even, it would probably be a label, because it's like a avatar of the artist.
Yeah.
And also you have to think about like the platform, like they really do not like when artists come in that aren't organically like accepted in the community. Like
Yeah.
the Chainsmoker, like you have to like understand Roblox, have had played it, like the artist would come in and chat with
Yeah.
people, and it's like that type of thing. You can't just,
Yeah.
not anyone could go in. Like Walmart comes in, it's just like, oh
Yeah. 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 We're cool and you're trying to take advantage of it.
yeah, right. You're like, what are you doing?
We saw that a lot, the NFT world.
Ah,
They were like, yeah, not to use that part. But you would have these artists who were native to it.
yeah.
Like a lot of them were dance musicians.
So, yes.
It's like Blau, who started Royal,
Totally.
or AJR or something, or Dance Orange, and their community was into it, and they would launch their own coins or do some kind of
Like NFT drops. Yeah.
yeah, it was legit. And then there was like, I wrote a feature for Creed magazine a couple months ago on the rock band Kings of Leon,
Mhm.
and
Oh my God, I remember that
they
drop.
they were the first band to release an album on NFT.
Yeah.
And I was talking to the drummer, and I was like, yeah, so I'm close to my story, but like, what's the deal with this? It was also the first NFT for a band in space.
So yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah, so I think it's just whatever that means. But I asked him about it, and he was like, yeah, I don't know. Management decided it was a good idea, and we were like, cool, we'll be first to market. There's some upside in being a trailblazer in this regard if this is going to turn into the thing. So we just did it. And they were completely divorced from what it was in the process. And it unsurprisingly didn't really resonate with the fan base either.
No, it was also attached, I think, to a vinyl. Like you would get vinyl if you bought the NFT. So it's like,
Okay.
that's also like a, pretty big difference. Like you're going into like the most extreme digital new item to vinyl, which I appreciate because I do think that, perhaps there's some crossover. And I do think vinyl, again, like year over year has grown tremendously in the past like 15, 20 years, but may not have been the best like connector.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like a digital or something, but I do recall that. I think anybody who got into that space early and didn't do well, most people didn't do well, but the ones that did really well, and they made a ton of money. And they're called whales, and the pool was really small, and then it all blew up.
Yeah, and they got out. Unlike AI,
right.
my thesis anyway of AR VR.
AR VR's had ups and downs. PlayStation VR came out, and it was like big anticipated moment, and then it kind of just didn't do much.
Yeah, but my thesis though is that we are still developing this tech, and I've seen too many, even in the music space, I've seen too many interesting applications.
Yeah.
For AR and VR, and we're also seeing some institutional support and investment for it now. So Meta had this call for virtual reality and augmented reality companies, and we're funding
to like create content for them,
developers to create experiences across the economy. And of course, Meta obviously is betting on this future, but we also see now
just change their name to Meta. Like
yeah. I mean, they're betting on it. Yeah. So obviously, I don't think that is evolved in the first couple of years the way that they wanted to. But you know what? Spotify launched in the US in July 2011, and it took 3 years for them to meet their first 6-month benchmark too. So consumer behavior doesn't always align with what some internal companies' wishes are. Yeah. And you also see Anderson Horowitz, the massive venture capital firm, the fund, release a call for storytelling startups in the creative arts last week, with an emphasis on all different kinds of storytelling, including AR and VR. Mm-hmm. So I think that the bet is that the goggles are going to turn to glasses. They're going to be a lot more integrated with our daily lives. There are going to be a lot more developer talent working on features and products for it. And if that's the case, we might have a whole new market. Just like the smartphone launched a whole new market for music.
But those were like practical applications. When you think about the metaverse and sort of this like just extra like gaming type, like Ray-Ban is creating the AR glasses, and it feels like right? Yes, exactly, and it feels like that. You could like talk to like you said, more like a Siri type thing where you're visualizing like what you need done, or like there's just different ways for practical use of these things that I think will catch on a lot more. And people think, okay, my life is going to be a lot easier if I have this, or more seamless, like the smartphone did to us, like voice does for us, Siri set my timer for 10 minutes, whatever. Like when I'm cooking, just little things that we can kind of like build into our modern lives that will make our lives easier, 100%. And especially when a company like Ray-Ban comes in and you're not wearing these ski goggles, you're wearing sunglasses or regular glasses. But the metaverse part, I'm just like,
that's the distinction. You're right. That's the same. You said something interesting before we started taping about how people don't want to be cut off from the world.
Right.
They want something that's additive to their reality and their environment. And right now, the metaverse isn't really proven that it's that. It is a singular experience without much going on in your real reality or your world.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge.
Yeah. And I think with COVID, post-COVID too, people want to be like in the world.
Yeah.
Live events are like on the rise. Like people want interactions, and especially like, not that I understand Gen Z very well, but this seems like the opposite of what they've expressed any interest in.
Yeah.
They want to get like a Sony handheld camcorder. I'm like, dude, it's like that's just like a little gimmicky, but like they want to go back to a time that they never lived, like that we lived.
Yeah.
We have to flip through pictures, and like their baby pictures are on their parents' iPhones. Like it's wild.
Yeah.
So I just wonder what the audience is like. How do you convert them to then wanting to spend time in a metaverse?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Right, Lucky?
Yeah.
Yeah, we bored him to death.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode of the Lone Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe,
comment.
Is that the
comment? So and let us know if there's a topic you want us to talk about. And Thanks for joining.